One of the best, most powerful resources that we have available to us is our own mind. Our mind is what controls our brain, so we are able to pay attention to what we want to pay attention to, focus on what we want to focus on, and ignore the things that we don't. We are able to look into the future and think about the past, in our imagination, come up with scenarios, things we should have done or things that we want to do. Those type of things require imagination. But our mind is what directs all of that. When we direct our mind, though, into this present moment, where we're at right now, what we're doing right now, that is called mindfulness. We are being full of the present moment with our minds. And so this is very powerful for our health and for our focus, and really just for our lives in general, to increase our moods and our happiness. There's many benefits to living in the present moment, which is the only moment we really have. The only moment we can control is right now. You can see some of the benefits here with your energy levels, your stress, anxiety, and depression. It can improve actual health conditions, heart function, digestive problems, things like that, along with your concentration and focus, because you are learning how to direct your mind. When you bring your mind back to the present moment, you are directing it to stay where it can have power and have control and use that energy in a good, healthy way. The way that we become mindful is we use our senses. We have sight, we can see things, we can hear things, we can taste things, we can smell things, we can feel things. And when we do that, it helps us to focus our attention and bring our minds present. So right now you could close your eyes and you could focus on my voice. What am I saying? The words that are coming out of my mouth right now. You could also stop focusing on what I'm saying and hear what's going on around you in the environment that you're in. Just listen for the sounds going on around you. You can also look. If you look around, you see things around you and you focus your attention on something. Like I have a plant right in front of me that's kind of like a little willow type plant with a little fuzzy things that are stuck on the end of the sticks, the twigs. And if I focus on this for a moment, I can see that these little things are gray in color and that they're fuzzy. They look soft to the touch. It looks like it needs a good dusting. I need to really dust my plants. But as I'm doing that, all of the adrenaline and cortisol that's coursing through me because I have to do these videos, and it's not a comfortable thing for me. I don't know if you've noticed, but I am not the professional speaker. I'm more of a writer. And so I feel my system in my body just kind of relaxing as I focus my attention on something around me in the present, and kind of forget that I'm on camera talking to you at the same time. So we use our senses. That helps us bring ourselves into the present moment, whether it's something that we're eating and that we can taste, whether it's something that we are hearing around us or seeing, something that we can touch and feel. A lot of times feeling helps me very much to bring myself present. Feeling a surface that's solid or hard, rough, the surface of something, soft, fuzzy, something like that. So we can use our senses to help us to stay in the present moment. This requires practice. It's something that we will not just automatically do. We can't just turn on our mindfulness function. It's something that is going to take our control of our own mind, or self-control, to learn to do. And it's something that we can practice on a daily basis, anytime, anywhere, because all really you have to do is get present with whatever you're doing at that moment. And it's good to stay in that state of presence, like really paying attention to what's going on around you, for at least 20 minutes when you're practicing. If you'll do that for 20 minutes at a time to really stay present with what's going on around you. And I'm going to teach you an exercise in the next lesson that kind of will help you to practice mindfulness and practice presence. So the bottom line is you're going to have to practice if you want to get better at this, but it's worth it, because the more that you practice, the more that you gain not just control to stay present in your mind, but control to put your mind on whatever you decide to place it on during your day. That's why it improves your focus and your concentration, because all of a sudden you have the power to not let your mind wander all over the place, but to bring it back to whatever you decide is most important at that moment to focus on. It's not that we never want to focus on the future or we never want to focus on the past. There are really good things that can come out of, letting our minds dwell on certain things in the past or in the future. The problem is that we tend to do that all the time, right? We tend to let our minds wander into the past or into the future the majority of the time that we're awake. And if you will just start to notice this on a daily basis, just notice where your mind is at, you'll begin to understand that many of the ways that we utilize our mind are just energy suckers. And so we want to practice being able to take back the control over that. Use your boring life to practice. This is something that's really been helpful for me. For instance, when I do the laundry, it's so boring to me. And I used to, turn on a show or watch a vlog. Sometimes I still do that on occasion, but then other times I just use it for mindfulness practice. So I'll just, each piece of clothing that I pick up, I'll notice like what it looks like, what the color is, what it feels like, how I fold it, and I'll just really pay attention to what I'm doing. You can do that when you're cleaning. You can do that when you're, driving. There's just so many scenarios where you're just in boring life, where you can, if you pay attention, you can use that as mindfulness practice. Use people, the people around you, people that you love, especially if you have loved ones. Study their faces. Look at the lines, the contours, the way that their eyes light up and sparkle, their smile, their hair, that kind of thing. This isn't a judgmental, critical, we're paying attention so we can say, that's imperfect or they should get this done or whatever. It's just noticing and enjoying the presence of people and enjoying the different varieties of people and their expressions and their personalities and the way that they present themselves. You can do that with anybody, even a stranger that you're talking to out in public. You can just really pay attention and use it for mindfulness practice. Places that you go, even places that you're at all the time. If you will start to pay attention, you will notice new things about them. I had to go to a doctor's appointment the other day. I was very anxious about it. It is not a comfortable one. And the whole time, while I was in the room being examined and in the most uncomfortable part, there was this painting on the wall that I'd never noticed. And I started to notice all the colors in the painting, and I started to just really focus in on this piece of artwork on the wall, and it helps me to remain calm and to stay present and not get too worked up about what was going on with the appointment. And so that's something that you can do any place that you're at, is just begin to notice the things around you and to pay attention to the smells, to the sights, to what you can feel. Your possessions, anything that you own, is a good thing to practice mindfulness on, to pick up and to feel and to notice what it feels like in your hand, to notice how it looks. There are many things that we come across on a daily basis that we just don't pay attention to. And if we would notice and see new things about them. And in doing so, it kind of just speaks safety to your nervous system. Staying present is one of those things that reminds your nervous system that it's safe in the present moment, that nothing bad is happening in the present moment. Now, of course, that means that would, require that nothing bad is happening in the present moment. I know that we go through moments that things are happening, and those are moments where we can use other resources. That might not be the moment to use mindfulness when, something really uncomfortable or just plain out ugly, painful, whatever is happening. If you stub your toe, you don't necessarily want to be mindful about how painful that feels. It may be better to, focus your attention on something else and be able to get through that in a different way with a different resource. But there are ways to use mindfulness even in those moments, like I just described at my appointment, to bring your system back into regulation. Supplies. What do you need to be mindful? Well, you need a mind, obviously, but we can signal changes to our brain in different ways. What I mean by this is your brain likes same old, same old. Your brain likes status quo. It is going to want to go with the habits that it has already created. And so even if those are bad habits, even if those habits make you uncomfortable or are painful or you don't like them or they mess with your life, and you know that they're the things like keeping you from going to the side, being better or being healthier, your brain will still want those habits. It's most comfortable in those habits because it knows them and it's not unknown. So some ways that we can signal to our brain that change is coming, and we're going to be practicing something different and changing the way that we act or react, is to start by doing something different. Like if you are right-handed and you usually use your right hand for everything, start using your left hand. In certain situations or whatever, you can signal to your brain that you're getting ready to change some things. Something or somewhere new. You can use this as a brain-changing signal. If you take a walk every day, start walking somewhere different. If you walk one direction, walk the other direction. Just start doing things differently and in a new way, and your brain will pick up on that and realize, oh, we're gonna, do some things differently, and it might ease a little bit of that uncomfortability trying to do these practices. Which I do want to mention too, as we've mentioned in the course concept, it's so much better to be consistent with something than to do a large quantity of it. So start with the amount of moments being mindful that you're able to be consistent. But when you're doing these things new, when you're going somewhere new, if you're, trying to change the signals in your brain, pay close attention to the newness of it and the things that you notice that are brand new. But you can also do something or somewhere old, which this is just the beauty of mindfulness, is anywhere and anything can become mindful. You can find the newness in the old. So like I was talking about before, when you are looking at things or hearing things or smelling things that are normal and usual in your space, many times we're taking those things for granted, right? So if we just start paying attention to those things and start picking up on the smells, the sights, the sounds, that is mindfulness, and that will create the same habit that doing something totally new would. So hopefully that helps. We are going to talk a little bit more about mindfulness in the future. There's an exercise, as I mentioned before, that we're going to do in the next lesson that will really help you practice mindfulness. And I think that this will just be a wonderful addition to your life if you have not learned the concept of controlling your mind and controlling your thoughts and being able to focus into the present moment. This is a great and powerful way to change your health.